You're now going to listen to a very exciting presentation of a very charming speaker, and I'd like to welcome Mrs. Marina Yiannikouri on stage. There she is, telling us about the monitoring of the responsible gaming program of the integrated casino resort. That sounds more than interesting. Marina.
I confess that I was a bit jealous of these regulators hub here and having you as a moderator, so I was really tempted to grab my chair and just sit with them, but maybe next time.
You're welcome next time.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marina Yiannikouri. I am head of responsible gambling and social responsibility at the Cyprus Gaming and Casino Supervision Commission. And today I will be talking about how we monitor the RG program of the integrated casino resort. So, in brief, I will introduce our organization. I will explain how RG fits as a social responsibility and a regulatory duty. I will explain, in brief, our understanding of RG and prevention of gambling harm. I will then talk about the operator's RG program and how we monitor the RG program and potential RG benefits of collection and combination of data. The Cyprus Gaming and Casino Supervision Commission is the regulator of the land-based casinos in the Republic of Cyprus. We regulate 3 satellite casinos, one in Nicosia, one in Paphos, and one in Yiannikouri. And since July this year, we also regulate the integrated casino resort in Limassol, which was previously the temporary casino, then closed and replaced by the integrated casino resort, or as we call it, the ICR. The legal framework is the Casino Operations and Control Law of 2015 and the regulations of 2016, and codes and directives that are issued by the Commission. So, everything we do is in the law in terms of responsible gambling, and I will explain. According to the law, the Commission must ensure that the potential erosion of society, addiction to gambling, as well as any negative effects on society, and especially minors and vulnerable groups from the casino operation, is restricted and controlled. And that defines our RG duty and social responsibility for prevention and elimination of gambling harm. And then the law says that the operator shall establish and maintain during the term of the casino resort license a responsible gaming program approved by the Commission and in accordance with the regulations. And that is what defines our regulatory duty for prevention of problem gambling and elimination of gambling harm, which goes back to what our chairman said this morning. There's 2 pillars, is what we do in terms of prevention and what we do in terms of monitoring what should be done by the operator in terms of RG. So, in order to explain how we do our work, I need to briefly explain how we see RG and prevention of gambling harm. And we see it through a public health lens. That is, by understanding gambling behavior, by identifying risks related to problem gambling, and by using gambling behavioral data to inform prevention about the gambling harm risks and the shift from problem to disordered gambling. We believe that prevention should be applied at all stages of the gambling spectrum, and that means from no risk to high risk of problem gambling, and to all eligible current players and future current players and future players. And by eligible, we mean 21 plus, that's the minimum age for gambling in the casino. And we also believe that where prevention fails, professional advice, support, and treatment is essential to be provided by those in charge of doing that. So let's talk about the operator's RG program. As I previously mentioned, the operator has a legal responsibility to establish and maintain an RG program. This RG program is submitted to the Commission for approval prior to the issue of the ICR license. And that is very important here because we see how important this RG program is. It's a condition for the issue of the license. The CGC Commissioner, CGC is the Cyprus Gaming Casino Supervision Commission, approve or disapprove the operator's RG program. And when this program is approved, then we are responsible to monitor its implementation by means that I will later on explain. So, where are we now with the operator's RG program? It was conditionally approved in June this year with a minimum actions list of what is expected by the commissioners. So, what is this program? Is it just a vague document of what the operator decides what should be done in terms of RG? Actually, it's the complete opposite. The law defines very specifically what this program must contain. It says that it must contain the goals, the targets, the timelines, and the KPIs to comply with the legislation and to meet with CGC's requirements. It must name the person or the committee and their responsibilities in supervising the establishment, the operation, and the implementation of the RG program. So we need to know exactly who is doing what. The procedures and guidelines to identify and trace casino customers who have or may have gambling problems. The procedures and guidelines on the availability of information regarding treatment, counseling, or intervention services, and also other financial or social services related to gambling problems. It also needs to know details of the operator system for customers to set limits on their gambling, money and time-wise. Details of the exclusion system for customers who have gambling problems. So that's exclusions by order, the mandatory ones, or self-exclusions, the voluntary ones. Details of the operator system to determine and impose maximum number of visits per customer per month. Details of the training program for the casino employees and the key casino employees to promote or adopt RG measures. So anybody who's involved in the procedure must have training. Procedures and guidelines for keeping records of RG activities under the RG program, which is something that I will revisit later on. And the operation of support program for casino individuals with addiction issues. So how do we monitor this RG program? How do we know what's happening when it's implemented? The first way to do it is through inspections. As I previously mentioned, it's the legal responsibility of the operator to establish and maintain this program, and it's our responsibility to evaluate it, to approve it, and to monitor it. The first way we do that is through inspections. The legislation provides us with the authority to inspect casinos, and we do. We do inspect all casinos on various issues on a regular basis. And now we're looking into RG-specific inspections to utilize our supervisory right to identify RG issues on the casino floor and practically monitor the implementation of the RG program. Our department, the RG department, based on the operator's approved now RG program, has drafted an RG inspections list for continuous and ad hoc inspections, starting with specific sections of the law. So that's about how we use inspections as given to us through the law to monitor the implementation of the RG program. And then we have the regulatory reports. The legislation also says that the operator must provide regulatory reports on all issues regarding its operation. That's in the law, that's in the regulatory reporting direction, and the tools. But there's also a very specific section of the law that says that in terms of RG, within the RG program, the operator must keep records related to RG activities. So it's part of what it should give in the RG program. And that's how we get to use these reports for our purposes. So based on the approved RG program, our RG department, in collaboration with the technical compliance department, developed the necessary reports to effectively monitor and evaluate the implementation of the RG program. Of course, there's other sources of data that are and should be used in maximizing the work we do. I will briefly mention two of them. One of these is the mandatory registration and carded play, which will enable us to identify problem gambling through, for example, range of involvement, frequency of gambling, behavioral dependence patterns, intensity of gambling patterns. And then there's another tool that we're now working on, a risk assessment tool, which will give us basic sociodemographic data given upon entry, then progressing into more specific risk assessment questions, and all this to be done within parameters that are research and evidence-based. What are the RG benefits of potential collection and combination of data? I think they're very obvious, but I might as well say them. Better understanding of inefficiencies and compliance issues that we find in the implementation of the RG program, both for the operator in redesigning its RG program and for us to be able to better evaluate the RG program. For example, very basic example, the operator's training needs, the staff that are concerned with RG. More practical monitoring of the implementation of the RG procedures from paper to action, because we have the RG program in paper, but what is happening on the casino floor is a totally different story. So how do we do it on the spot? One example is behavioral interactions, when the employee suggests to a customer to go for a self-exclusion. How does that happen? We are able to use important data for research to guide gambling harm minimization strategies in a wider gambling context. For example, clusters of behavior more frequently observed in these RG interactions, which will gradually help us to understand better the landscape, the RG landscape in Cyprus, and our specific needs. And of course, all this would lead to automation in the implementation and monitoring of the RG program, which is a plus for the operator and for us. So, I'm very aware of time. I'm very aware how tired you are, so I will be very brief in my conclusions. One, responsible gambling for us is a wide range of activities. It's not about providing information on self-protection tools to direct all responsibility to the person. We don't believe in that. And I actually disagree with what was said today about gaming and gambling. As far as I'm concerned, it is gambling. We have a lot of new challenges to face in terms of gaming, and I think we should separate them, but that's my opinion. The Commission's responsibility for social protection is interlinked with an effective RG program established and maintained by the operator. So no matter how much work we do in terms of prevention, if what is happening in the casino isn't working, there is no good. Monitoring the RG program is not only a regulatory duty for the Commission, but a part of a multi-layered responsibility for the prevention of gambling harm. By that, what we mean is that we don't have just a checklist of things, documents that are there, and we just tick them. It's important because it's a multi-layered effort that involves everyone, and it shouldn't just be a checklist of yes and no. Last but not least, and I think everybody pretty much mentioned this today, research and data on gambling risks is a requirement for evidence-based actions, from responsible gambling to prevention through treatment for the operator, for the regulator, for all involved stakeholders and society, where harm prevention strategies do meet and they should meet. Thank you for your time.